If you're looking to make solar simple, give Ron Domenico with AD Energy a call. All-day energy made simple. Solar solutions with zero down, options to lease or finance, and roofs and trees are no issue. Call Ron Domenico at 609-226-2802 and tell him you saw him on the Sports Box.
Well, hello again, and welcome to the show that, man, it just smells like home cooking. This is the Sports Box, where the only opinion that matters is right here. I am Mike Galata, a.k.a. Hamilton Mike, along with my partner, Brian, the Ranger Retard. Brian, smells like draft week.
Feeling kind of golden today.
Oh, the Golden Knights, that's right. And what was the expansion joke we had earlier?
This probably is the only show that's going to make you expand your pants, especially if you're in Vegas.
Only here at the Sports Box you get that kind of comedy. But anyway, let's get to it. We are going to talk about the new team in the league, the Las Vegas Golden Knights. We're going to talk about the expansion draft, who we think are coming out of different teams and where they're getting drafted and all that. We're going to break it down for divisions for you in our two conference shows. Brian, let's get to it. Let's talk about the Metro Division. Let's talk about the East.
So first up, we'll talk to the Carolina Hurricanes. We're going to go basically alphabetical order there, but just keep this in mind too. So teams, when they were able to protect these players, Mike, they had to go with one of two setups: either 7 forward, 3 defensemen, a goalie, or 8 skaters and a goalie. So we saw a lot of different teams, something a little bit different depending how they set it up. Younger players were exempt. You had a no movement clause. You had to be protected. So a lot of teams were behind the 8 ball. So you take a look first at the Carolina Hurricanes. There's not really a lot here for Vegas to choose from.
No.
The name that stood out to me was Lee Stepniak. Stepniak was a guy who scored 16 goals last year. Veteran player. I think when you're building a new team, I think that's somebody who you can definitely at least put in there, even on a second, third line role, that can provide some veteran leadership for a new team.
Correct. And I had thought that too with the veteran leadership. We agree on that.
Next up, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Mike, Columbus is kind of being held hostage here.
A little bit.
A little bit, right?
A little bit.
They got guys they want to protect. So the rumor is that they've worked out some sort of a deal with the Knights, or the Golden Knights, to not take certain players, and I get that. Yep. But they were basically bent over a barrel. First round pick. It's a lot. To me, it sounds like they're going to take Jack Johnson, the former King. Again, defensive stalwart. Guy's been around. Definitely another guy that they can add to that new Vegas blue line. But again, probably not who Vegas wanted.
No.
But Vegas really have to pick.
They're going to have to
and some depth there.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Jack Johnson's definitely the pick out of Columbus. Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
Going down to those New Jersey Devils, they have the #1 pick in the draft, and boy, do they need it, because there is not a lot of talent.
Slim pickings over
Not
there.
a lot of talent available on this roster. So to me, I think the guy that Vegas gets semi-excited about is Devontae Smith-Pelly, guy who was in Montreal, younger player.
The only guy to get excited for.
For this team, I mean, there's talk of maybe like a Michael Camilleri. I don't really buy that, because I think he's on the downside of his career. Yeah. Not a lot of star power there. Smith-Pelly's an underrated player. I thought that even when the Devils got him, he was a good pickup for them. He's a guy I think that will do nicely.
Yep.
For the
add a little bit of jump with that second or third line, absolutely.
Yeah. Now the Islanders, one of the teams that really got shafted by this whole thing.
Yep.
I was not a fan of who they chose to protect versus who they chose to leave exposed.
It was a little weird, wasn't it?
There's a lot of talent available from the Islanders. I mean, there's names there. The Josh Baileys, the Brock Nelsons, and the guy who I think is going to end up, even Calvin DeHaan, the guy who I think is going to end up going to Vegas from this team is Ryan Strome. Now, Ryan Strome was a 5th overall pick not too many years ago.
Yep.
Guy who can bring some offense. And again, a younger player. A lot of, to me, they're looking for this team to have a little bit of youth to it, because, again, you're trying to grow it going forward. There's no system here. You're going to be building that from scratch.
Well, you talk about the Islanders. That's a team that's on the fence of blowing the whole thing up, because they made a run last year, and at first when we had our mid show, we didn't think we were going to make a run at all. But then they made a little bit of a run last year, so they
still didn't get in though.
They still didn't get in, but I mean, do you blow this team up and start over? I think, like you said, there's a lot of talent out there. They got to do what they got to do. So
I think Ryan Sherman's a real nice pickup. I think, again, the youth thing's definitely there.
Yep.
Rangers. Thoughts on this?
Do you know anything? Do you want to study the roster?
I have a working knowledge of the New York Rangers.
Things,
Rangers got a couple of guys here that I think would be interesting to the Golden Knights. I think if they went with the Antti Ranta route, I could see that. If they flip Ranta to get some other assets there. Jesper Foss is an interesting name. I think, to me, it's down to one of two people. I think it's Michael Grabner or Oscar Lindberg. Now, I had prognosticated last summer when Grabner got signed by the Rangers that he was going to be one of the guys they would expose in the draft for that exact reason.
Yeah.
That he was going to score as many goals as he did this year. I did not. To me, because of Grabner's age, I think he had a really above his caliber type year. The guy who I'm going to hate to lose, but I think is a great pick for Vegas is Oscar Lindberg. Oscar Lindberg played a lot of fourth center role for the Rangers this year, but he played very, very well, especially in the playoffs. I think he's a guy that could potentially end up as a 3 center if he doesn't go. He's a guy I'm going to hate to lose, but I get it.
I still think it's going to be Grabner, but Oscar Lindberg is a good pickup as well.
I think, like I said, I think it's if they go youth versus experience. And again, Grabner's been around. We'll see. You may have a working knowledge of the Flyers.
A little bit. I think the Flyers, you look at the guys that they didn't protect. Obviously, there's guys out there. Bellemare is still out there. Matt Reed, nobody's going to take that contract on. Van de Velde, he's had his ups and downs. Weiss, Del Zotto, injury prone. McDonald sucks. you got Michael Nierverth, who they actually signed to an extension and then left him unprotected. So Mason obviously they're getting rid of anyway. But out of this crew, I think we come to an agreement that Michael Raffle could be the guy that they take. I think there's a guy who's got a little bit of youth, a little bit of everything for Flyers. And out of this list, he's probably the best player, I would think.
20-year-old player, got 2 more years under his belt. The interesting name here would be Neuwirth because, again, George McPhee drafted him in Washington.
And they just signed him 2 weeks ago to
but that might have been part of the, they want to have somebody available. They didn't want to, put Stolarz out there. I also think Raffle, who played a little bit of first line for the Flyers at points in his career, had a bit of a down year, but I think he could definitely bring it back.
So I actually don't think anybody would have picked up Stolarz. Here's a kid from Jackson, came up the first year, didn't really play that much. Not a lot of value there. I don't think anybody's going to jump on him. But hey, it is what it is.
Pittsburgh's easiest one. Pittsburgh's easiest one because, as everybody knows here, it's going to be Marc-Andre Fleury. So Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be the opening night starter, most likely for the Las Vegas Golden Knights. He waived his no-movement clause for this reason and only for this reason. You know what, though? Vegas is doing them a favor. We've been talking for about a year and a half now, ever since the Penguins won the Cup 2 years ago. What are you going to do with Marc-Andre Fleury?
Big contract.
That cap. He's got 2 more years at $5.75 million. I got to tell you, Pittsburgh's getting lucky here.
And here's a guy who's going to start for you for the next 2 or 3 years and be solid in goal. Look what he did in the playoffs. I mean, here's a guy who got his career rejuvenated. He had a great playoffs. He pretty much sat behind Matt Murray the whole year, and now he's going to get a chance to start again for a team that's got a pretty decent team that we think.
Well, I think they definitely have the potential, if they do this right, to even be a playoff team very early, at least be competitive. I think the NHL set it up that way.
Smoking a little doobie there, but that's fine.
Hey.
It's the NHL.
But they're going to come in with a guy with 3 Stanley Cup rings.
It's true.
So, and that's a guy who I think if they're looking to market their team, it's a real easy, way to do that. So, again, the Cup champs lose their backup goalie for $6 million. Not bad, right?
Not bad. Not a bad deal.
A team that has not won a Cup ever, in fact, can't get past the second round, those Washington Capitals.
Boom!
Yeah. Boom goes the dynamite. A lot of names on here, Mike, but it's kind of actually a little bit...
it's not really shocking.
It's deceiving, but it's deceiving because a lot of these guys are free agents. For example, Kevin Shattenkirk, Carl Alsner, TJ Oshie. These are guys unprotected, but you know what? They're UFA. I don't think Vegas needs to go and waste their pick here. Guy who I think is of interest to them is Philip Grubauer. So he's the backup goalie to... Braden Holtby, again, another McPhee pick. McPhee was the Caps GM, so he knows a lot of these guys. To me, I think that's probably the guy with the most upside of this group, so I think that they get another goalie there from the Caps to finish out the Metropolitan Division. So we're going to take a quick second here to recognize our sponsor, and I'm sorry, the Metro Division. I should know these things. If anybody knows, I should know these things. So we're going to stop that stupid name division, and we're going to take a little break here, recognize our sponsor, and come back with the Atlantic right after this.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or rent in the South Jersey area, give Dave Burbaum a call with RE/MAX Community, 856-524-2927, and buy with Burn.
And we're back.
So let's mosey on over to the Atlantic Division. Atlantic.
There we go.
Atlantic.
Let's mosey. Go ahead.
So let's go up to the Northeast, those Boston Bruins. Now, you look at Boston's list of players here, Mike, and they would just love... They would take Matt Bolesky. Can you please take Matt Bolesky off our hands?
They highlight him in red.
Yeah, not a good situation.
What about Zach Rinaldo? They'll take him.
Do you remember when they gave up a 3rd-round pick for Zach Rinaldo? Hey, short-term story. I actually went to a Rangers Flyers game with a anti-Flyers jersey, and Rinaldo flipped me off. It was great. but he's still going to be in the Bruins next year. Who's not going to be in the Bruins, who I think they're going to be really pissed off about? Malcolm Subban. Malcolm Subban was a high pick for them, a first-round pick a couple of years ago. He's P.K. Subban's brother. Hasn't really had a chance to start at the NHL level, but there's a guy with a lot of pedigree that I think could be a starter in this league. He'll get the most value of anybody Boston's got available. For me, I think it's Malcolm Subban.
I'm a goalie guy, and I agree with you. I think Subban is a popular talent. He's got a little bit of value. He's got a good pedigree. I think Boston's going to be hurt by losing him, but what are you going to do? It is the expansion. So
Buffalo's got some interesting names too. Buffalo would be thrilled if the Knights took Zach Bogosian or Matt Molson off their hands. That's probably not going to happen. A guy who I think is definitely a likable guy is William Carrier. William Carrier is 22 years old, former second-round pick. Hasn't really had a chance to play that much in the league, but just a ton of upside there.
Yep.
That's another guy who, again, remember, Vegas has to build a system here of youth.
Yeah.
So it's not just 34-year-old guys that are going to be on this team. I think Carrier is a real nice pickup for them.
I agree. And Buffalo's got a little bit of youth on their side, so I think that's a good pickup for them. Yep.
And absolutely just mind-blowing as the Detroit Red Wings. So the Detroit Red Wings decided that it was advantageous to them to not protect Peter Mrazek.
Yeah,
I don't get it. I don't get it. You protect Jimmy Howard. I don't know why. This is a slam dunk to me. I don't even care if Vegas keeps him or if they flip him.
Yeah.
To me, that's a guy with all the value in the world.
Has played during the season, shown what he can do.
50 games last year, just 25 years old. Goalies don't really hit their stride till like next couple of years here. Detroit, I don't know. I don't know what the hell's going on there.
I definitely think it's a good move on their part.
Yeah. So definitely we'll look at that from Detroit. Florida.
How much can
Florida?
Can they answer like 4 or 5 people from Florida?
Yo, that Keith Yandel deal's really looking good, right? Okay, so you had to protect guys you didn't want to protect, and now, as a result, Jonathan Marchessault had a breakout year in Florida last year.
Yeah.
30-goal scorer, making $750,000, and he's going to be the newest Las Vegas Golden Knight. I have no doubt in my mind. You look at that list; they're not taking Roberto Luongo, guys.
No.
So to me, I think it's a slam dunk. Ton of value there. I mean, they could take that guy and flip him very easily.
I actually heard somebody say to me that they were thinking about them taking Luongo, and I said, no, Luongo's on the other side of his career. I think for a team like the Las Vegas Knights, why wouldn't you get Fleury and skip on Luongo? So that's definitely not good.
26-year-old kid just had. I got to tell you, that's that is not good asset management out there for the Florida Panthers.
Yep.
Going up to the Montreal Canadiens, this is interesting here, Mike, because they would be thrilled, I think, if they took Plekanec.
They probably would be. They'd be
Yeah. Now here's I'm going to go on a limb on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that Vegas takes Alexander Radulov. Now, you're going to say, why would Montreal let him go?
Why would Montreal let him go?
He's a UFA. He's a UFA, and remember, Vegas has a lot of money to meet, and you know what? Radulov's a guy to me that I think would just relish playing in Las Vegas.
When you start at the bottom, it's only go up when you have all that money for Las Vegas.
So, to me, that's a guy who I could see the Knights back up the Brinks truck for.
Yep.
Give him $7-something million a year, become your starting right wing. You build your team around that star player. And Montreal, it is what it is. I mean, they didn't protect him because he wasn't signed, but there's really nobody else here that really stands out.
You know, like Steve Ott's a big standout.
So Steve Ott got a coaching job in St. Louis, so obviously he's not
they're not thinking of him.
I mean, he's available if you want to be coach, right?
He's unprotected.
Yeah. Again, for me, I think that's an easy slam dunk. Another easy slam dunk to me is in Ottawa. Now, Ottawa's got a couple names here that are of interest. You take a look at it there. Bobby Ryan is available. Man, he makes a lot of money.
A lot of money. They just put him out there. They know nobody's going to take him.
So for me, you're building a blue line. You're building it from the ground up. I think Mark Mathot. Now again, Mark Mathot is 31 years of age. He's got 2 more years on his deal here at $4.9 million. So he gives you a little bit. He'll be the highest paid defenseman on this team.
Right.
But again, they got to get above a certain part of the cap anyway.
And he gives you a little leadership.
Yes, absolutely.
He's been there before. He'll thump the body. He'll throw his weight around, and that's a good pickup for them. I agree.
Yeah.
If you're going
now you look at Tampa again. So there's a lot of youth here. Tampa's got a couple guys who are interest to me personally, and the guy I think that's just if I were drafting this team.
Before you say it, if you can do it at home, you're the best. Go ahead, give him the name.
Slater Cuckoo.
That's right.
Slater Cuckoo.
Because I wouldn't be able to pull it off. Owen Bryant.
23-year-old kid, a former first-round pick, very high, 12th overall actually, in his draft year. He was drafted in 2012. Hasn't really cracked the lineup that much for Tampa Bay, but again, Youth. And he's 22 years age.
Change of scenery could be a good thing for him.
Yeah, I think he's starting their top 6. I don't see any reason why not. Again, the pedigree's there.
Yeah.
And you're looking for youth building a system. I think that's a very, very nice pick out of Tampa. Finishing up in the Atlantic Division, the Toronto Maple Leafs. You look at who Toronto left here. Now, for me, there's a couple of guys here that are interesting. Brian Boyle sticks out. But again, the age is a factor. What are you going to really do with him?
You already got veterans on your team.
You do. And I like Kirby Reichel here. Kirby Reichel was a high pick. Kirby Reichel was actually, I'm 90% sure, was picked with the pick Columbus got from the Rangers for Rick Nash.
Correct.
A little bit of trivia for you there.
There you go.
He ended up in Toronto, but it's still a really young kid. 22 years old was he's a guy that's got a lot of runway in front of his career. Take him out somewhere new, give him a prime role, and see what he does. I think he's got the offensive pedigree to be a good player for this team.
Yep.
I think Kirby Reichel's the pick out of Toronto.
Absolutely.
And that's the East.
I like it. So far, so good. Just keep an eye out for us. We're going to have the next conference for you. You want to keep an eye out. We'll finish out the draft for you. We love doing this stuff.
This is fun.
I'm getting a little tingly right now. Anyway, make sure you get us because you can always get us on social media. You know that.
Absolutely, and with so much stuff going on draft-wise in sports these days, NBA draft, NHL draft, listen, you want to make sure you're on the Sports Box. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're going to see the logo right about the size of my head. I had a big head. You can't miss it. Right over
monstrous.
Here at the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe there. But also, Twitter and Facebook at Sports Box Show. Check us out there as well. We're everywhere. Make sure you find us.
When you subscribe to YouTube, hit that little bell. You'll get some alerts of our fresh content right away. I'll tell you, unbelievable. If you need your Las Vegas jerseys, Brian is doing them personal. Oh, you're not doing them.
We're dropping so much knowledge. I'm parched.
Anyway, thank you for watching the Sports Box. Do check out the other conference and clean up the draft for you. Because remember, at the Sports Box, the only opinion that matters.
Oh, it's right here. In fact, if the opinion was left exposed in the expansion draft,
we'd be in trouble.
You know Vegas is taking it. You know it. But we protected it. No worries.
It's like Night at the Improv here. See you.
This episode of the Sports Box is brought to you by Mic'd Up Entertainment and DJ Mike Velardi. For all of your event planning needs, make sure you contact Mike at 609-864-5925 and tell him that you saw him on the Sports Box.
1, 2, 3.
Don't forget to subscribe.